The Fain family's connection to the sanctuary started with a friendship between Johnny Lee Fain and Henry Lovell Brooks. And he had a piano recital at his home that she was invited to. And that's where their friendship began and where she got her first glimpse of these windows. There's a great connection between Mercy Hospital, which was the first hospital in Prescott, and how these beautiful stained glass windows came to Yavapai County. In 1895, the Sisters of Mercy came to Prescott, and it's actually the location where Prescott College is. They decided to build the first hospital, and that took a number of years to construct the hospital, and then they decided that we needed a chapel. So the windows for the chapel were created in 1906. They were created in Germany, and they were sent all the way to Prescott, Arizona. And 1906 just happens to be the same year that my grandmother was born as well. In 1940, Mercy Hospital burned down, but luckily the chapel was right outside of the hospital itself, and so the windows in the chapel were preserved. The windows that Henry Brooks fell in love with, he saw them and realized their potential and their beauty, and he knew that he had to do something to preserve them. He bought all 8 of these beautiful stained glass windows, and they were completely restored. And then when they came back to Prescott, he had them installed in his own home. So he built a sanctuary within his home, and 6 of them were placed there, and he had 2 of the windows put in his living room. Henry came to Yavapai County with a rich history. He was a teacher at universities. He was into music theology. He was into language culture. He survived the Battle of the Bulge. And when he came to Yavapai County, he worked at Orm School for 14 years. And then he was an organist. So he played at churches in Chino Valley, in Prescott. And he also gave piano lessons to everybody in the Prescott area. Everyone has someone that's been at a lesson from Henry Brooks. Johnny Lee Fain and Henry Brooks became friends much later in life, and Johnny Lee decided that she was going to take piano lessons again. So they happened to be neighbors, and she would go to his house weekly and take piano lessons, and their friendship blossomed from there. They loved music. They were surrounded by these wonderful windows. And this is kind of how the transformation of their dream burst into a reality. And they spent time talking about their plans. Johnny Lee wanted to create a chapel for all people to enter and have peace. And Henry wanted a permanent destination for the beautiful windows. Johnny Lee played a nice role in the designing of the chapel. She went to architectural meetings. She also picked the actual location. She wanted the chapel nestled in nature. She wanted it surrounded by beauty. So she got to do a lot of those decisions on her own. Unfortunately, the chapel wasn't built in time for her to see the completion of it. She passed away at age 93, but Henry Brooks, who donated the windows, got to visit the chapel many, many times. The windows that embrace this chapel all represent biblical times and stories of Christ's life, and they were all dedicated to people in our community, and Dr. McNally was one of those people. He was chief of staff of the hospital at the time, and others were nurses, others were patients. So the windows represent Yavapai County in a beautiful and healing environment.